Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. Today we're going to be talking about the post-credit scenes for Thunderbolts, in particular that last one, and the implications and what may be happening there. There were some wild theories as to what may be happening there. There will be spoilers for Thunderbolts here. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, I highly recommend it. Check out the community tab, post tab, and look at that results for that top poll. Thus far, people are voting. Really like this movie. I'm Petter, by the way, and yeah, let's get into the post-credit scenes for Thunderbolts. So, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You have been warned. Spoilers. The first post-credits scene is kind of that funny scene. It's the one that we expected to have, though it does really set up kind of the tone for the Thunderbolts and Alexei, and even some of what is being done in the second post-credit scene. It's basically, the first one is just basically Alexei really pushing the fact that they're on Wheaties box and trying to get a lady to buy it because, well, his face is on the Wheaties box. Of course, she doesn't actually recognize him as being one of the new Avengers on the Wheaties box, so, yeah, she doesn't take it. That one, like I said, is just the funny one. Now, this second one, I actually knew some of what was going to happen in this one. Not too much, but the end credits scroll, one of the things that I like to do in the end credits scroll is just look at the music. Like, look at, okay, what songs were used for this film. And all of a sudden I see the last one on the list is the Fantastic Four theme. Now, 100% you need to credit that. But maybe just do a really short addendum to your credits after that final post-credit scene, because it gave away a little bit that, oh yeah, we're going to have the something with a Fantastic Four in this post-credit scene. Just to kind of walk through what's going on, there's some lead up around basically like who's the real Avengers team. Sam is putting together his team. Bucky's gone to talk to him, and I think Sam feels kind of betrayed by Bucky, since Bucky declined joining Sam's Avengers team. And probably not realizing like this was just really forced upon Bucky. And the answer, I'm sure that Sam has like, well, you could have said no. You could have just said, no, we're not going to be the Avengers team. But with everything going on with Val, it's understandable why they did. But then they talk about how there are space anomalies happening that nobody's telling them about. And then there's a multi-dimensional vehicle, spaceship, that enters, that appears. And that's where we see the Fantastic Four rocket ship that we see in the events of the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. So, I think the simplest explanation as to what's happening is Galactus 1. If the Fantastic Four movie is basically a disaster movie, in some ways, like you have your utopian setting, and then a natural disaster, aka Galactus, comes, and there's nothing you can really do about a force of quote-unquote nature in this setting. Now, Galactus obviously isn't a force of nature, but kind of that sort of thing. What do you do? There's not much you can do. You can just run. You can run to somewhere safe. And especially with the fact that they have a family on the way, or possibly there by this point in time, it makes sense that they are running. But I do have a number of different questions around this, and I think it could be that it isn't the Fantastic Four. There's certainly other options for them to do. One of them would kind of be the Superman thing. Now, what's the Superman thing? So Superman comes to Earth when the planet Krypton is going to be destroyed. He is sent away as a baby so that Kryptonians can survive. I don't think we're going to get precisely that. I do think there's a chance that we get Herbie sent into a spaceship with baby Franklin to basically take care of and raise Franklin, and Reed leaves behind all the information that Franklin will need to potentially Valeria, but to potentially deal with the problem of Galactus, to try and solve that problem. It's like, we're going to save you, we're going to send you into space. And maybe the storyline is then that in Fantastic Four First Steps, that you have this impending disaster occurring. And then they send Franklin away, but they find a way to avert the disaster. But because this is kind of a multi-dimensional ship, they aren't able to locate the ship again. The expectation was this disaster was going to happen. Maybe something did happen to prevent them from locating the ship again. Now, Franklin, not knowing everything that has happened in his universe, like 60 years have passed, or X amount of time has passed, and then with the multiversal travel, there's also time travel with it. And now Franklin has come to the main MCU basically to be like, hey, well, there's these anomaly events that are occurring across the universe. One of them being my own, which was going to be eaten up, and now you are being targeted with this incursion that's happening, this event that the space anomaly that the Thunderbolts, the New Avengers are not being told about. And so I think that that's a really interesting theory for it. I like the theory a lot because it's not what I would expect. And I think a theory like this one is nice because I really feel like now I can think about Fantastic Four First Steps and go like, I don't know what's going to happen with it. If this is as straightforward as it looks, and it's the Fantastic Four with Baby Franklin coming to another universe, that's very straightforward in terms of storytelling for Fantastic Four First Steps. And I expect there will be plenty of twists and turns along the way, but I'm not 100% sure, and I think that very straightforward element is less than ideal. Now, it is worth noting, though, that this is not a Matt Shakman directed post-credit scene. Instead, this is a Russo brothers directed post-credit scene for leading into Doomsday, not for leading into Fantastic Four. And I do want to talk a little bit about Doomsday, too, because I think this post-credit scene with the anomaly and everything potentially starts to... And even, like, they joke about riding Sentry up into space. At least Red Guardian does. And I think that we're going to see actually some of that come to fruition in Doomsday. I've always kind of said that the idea that I have for Doomsday is you have these different groups. You have the X-Men on their world, and you have the Avengers, Sam Wilson's Avengers, on this main MCU Earth. And Banner or others are working with Sam Wilson's Avengers, not with the new Avengers. And then these new Avengers, they feel like they're being left out. I mean, they are being left out. They also feel like people don't love them as much as they love Sam and the team that he's put together, because I think that team now, I'm going to guess that it's going to have characters like Thor, Ant-Man, recognizable, kind of the bigger heroes from the previous phases. I think that it's going to have the more recognizable people on it. And so this new Avengers team is going to be looking to remake their name, to feel like they matter again as a hero team. And I think that's going to make them susceptible to listening to a Val, potentially, or in particular a Namor, who's going to be kind of talking about, like, well, time's running out. Time's running out on this incursion. If nothing is done, both universes are going to die. It's better for one universe to die than for both. And so the new Avengers team is going to get Bob to tap back into his powers as Sentry and be the ones who destroy the X-Men universe. Kind of taking that dark Avengers idea where, yes, their heart is maybe in the right place. They're not necessarily evil characters, but now they're doing very questionable things, and they're doing a Thanos-like solution in that in order to save a group of people, we have to kill a group of people. And I think that would just be a really interesting element to it, and especially if it goes from, like, you have Sam and his Avengers and the X-Men team have been working together to try and find a solution, and they maybe even have an idea, but then to have that all fall apart because of this new Avengers team, I think could be really good. As well as then, is that part of Doom's plan in Doomsday? Could Doom even be the one who's dropping hints to a Val or to a Namor to weaponize Bob? Possibly. I think there's just some interesting storytelling there. But let me know your thoughts on the post-credit scenes for Thunderbolts down in the comments section below. And do you think any of the theories, ideas that I have for Fantastic Four, what the post-credit scene means here, and Doomsday, are any of those ones that sound good to you? If you enjoy this content, give me a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts down in the comment section below. And check out the podcast where we talk about the post-credit scenes as well as the Thunderbolts movie as a whole. You can find the podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and who is checking out the videos. And then click on the podcast tab. Or you can search for 10 Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, see you next time.